Hey everybody, I thought I'd share a quick peek of my commute from Kalispell to Hungry Horse today. Very cool looking. We are riding down Highway 35. This will take us to Big Fork normally. Now, I'm not looking at what I'm taping at all. I'm just showing you out the window while we're talking here. And what you're seeing there is the canyon. That's where we're going. You can see it. So anyways, I'm just going to kind of show you the view. Oh, and show you that view. I'm not looking at what I'm taping. I'm just showing you out the window. As we pull up to this light here, that's the Flathead Valley. Now, it is rather flat, but that's not why they say that. It's named after the Native Americans that were here. And it's just such an amazing point of view. I'm just going to keep you out the window here while we go around. Alright. Yeah. I really love taking this trip to Hungry Horse, which I do regularly, because it's beautiful. Only thing is at night when I go home, you don't get the same point of view. So this I really love. Now I'm gonna show you out this window. Not much to see here, folks. Normally you can see some mountains over there. There's some smaller mountains over that way, the Salish Mountains. But there's like a it's kind of foggy. It's been kind of foggy over the past week or so. And at this time of year, it does that here. We're right next to the Flathead River, and that makes a lot of fog, especially overnight. Now, I used to work for a shuttle company that picks people up at the airport and takes them out to mostly to the ski resort, and so I had a lot of opportunities to see beautiful weather, you know, with fog and everything. All these different low-lying clouds and stuff. So, anyways. There, I get a kick out of those little clouds bumping into the mountain like that. Anyways, as I'm driving to work, I thought maybe I'll share a story about a dream I had when I was a little kid. I was like about 5 years old, and I think we were living in Port Huron, Michigan at the time, so that's how I remember my timeline. And I was walking down the road there, close to where we live, in that neighborhood, and my sister came along in this truck. It looked kind of like a military vehicle, you know, with kind of like a box-shaped back end that has like some kind of cloth over it, but it was all black. And I was invited aboard, and when I climbed in the back, her good friend from up the street was in the back. And we went someplace where she climbed up this pole, and I was trying to catch up with her. I'm going, wait for me, wait for me. She got to the top, and she slid back down, and they took off without me, and I was just running down the road. I was in a different neighborhood, and I didn't know where I was, and I was just like, wait for me, wait for me. I woke up the next morning and I was looking out the bathroom window. We lived in a two-story house, so I think I climbed up on the toilet so I could peek out the little window. And check the driveway to see if that vehicle was parked outside. And at that point, I do believe I have named it the Boogie Car. So I thought it was a scary dream for some reason. It was a Boogie Car. It was an ugly black vehicle, and I ended up abandoned in that dream. Well, anyways, I thought I'd share that story because I'm currently driving what I like to call the Boogie Car, and the reason for that was it really started with my other vehicle, the Chevy Suburban. I started calling that the Boogie Wagon, and I was inspired to give my truck a name because my good friend Rosie, who I came here to live with, likes to name her vehicles. And she asked me me what I'm gonna call mine. Her truck was called Sweetie. The ugly old truck was called Old Paint. And so one day I was driving along and I was reaching over to turn up the techno and dancing in my seat and thought, I know, I'll call it the Boogie Wagon, because you know I like to jam on the highway here. And I also would tell those guys, like, if I'm the driver, you know, hang on you guys while I pull the wagon around. So I kind of drew it all together. So I call it the Boogie Wagon. It sounds kind of silly and it makes me laugh. And well, since the Boogie Wagon wasn't running, I needed another vehicle, which is the one I'm driving. And a good friend of mine offered it to me for a really low price, and she did it to save my ass, because otherwise I was out of a vehicle because I didn't know how I was going to get the other one fixed. Alright, you know, that's where I keep the rest of my shit in storage. Anyways, yeah, so I make a trip up here. We were driving up and down this regularly, so we put our storage unit there, and it's been very helpful in the long run, so thank you for that. Anyways, I'm going to show you around while I'm sharing my silly story about the Boogie Car and all that, because, anyways, I thought it'd be perfect because it's black, and it's got the dashboard lights are red, and, it's kind of ugly, you know. Whoever had it before me must have had an ice-related accident, because right now it needs a little help. Like I really wanted to show you the mountains, but these trees are in the way. Yeah, it's a cool little car though. It's been very useful to me, and it's helped me to get through the summer. But at the same time, spooky looking little car. And the friend that sold it to me, she didn't feel safe driving it. It's got a little bit of mechanical stuff, but once you get it up on the highway and running it, it drives it really great. It's what you call the fuel injection needs some work on it, so when we're in park or in reverse it runs really rough. But it's been a reliable vehicle this whole season, so I'm very thankful for the Boogie Car. Now what that relates to, I think, is Batman. I was thinking of, let me show you out the window here, the Whitefish Mountains. You can see them. Anyways, Batman got bombarded by some bats in his narrative, and that's where, when he grew up to become Batman, he was able to come face to face, you know. That was how he was able to break through fear in his life. So it's my little joke is, since I had a nightmare about the Boogie Car when I was a little kid, maybe me driving this vehicle is my way of breaking through fear. Now that I drive the Boogie Car. So when people talk about me, they can be like, oh yeah, that's Jody. She drives the Boogie Car. Nah, that's where we're going. It is, a scary trip on the way home because it's dark and there are a lot of big animals that live out here. So what I've been doing is taking a different route where there's more traffic and less likely to hit an animal. So actually the day drive is great, but at night I would rather have my truck. If I hit something in my truck, I'll be safe, but if I hit something in this car, it's not a safe car to have an accident in with a big animal. And so there's a lot of white-tailed deer that live here, and there are also some elk that live up here. So anyways, the tale of the Boogie Car. I really wanted to share the tale of the Boogie Car. I may have mentioned it in other videos. And I also wanted to share my commute to work on an interesting day where the clouds are low-lying. There's been some foggy weather lately, and you know, the other day I was driving up here, it was like there was a cloud just laying all the way down on the ground, and as I was driving up to the canyon, I could barely see the mountains, and then right as I got up to the canyon, it was perfectly clear. So sometimes this whole valley will just be fogged up, and outside of that is, it's like once you get through the canyon, it's a different world. So anyways, this is the top end of the Flathead Valley as I'm coming up to turn towards the canyon. And right here, I'm going to show you out the window where we're going on. That's called Columbia Mountain, and somewhere down the side of that mountain is a waterfall, so they call it Columbia Falls. And then Bad Rock Canyon is named that way because back in the old days, you didn't want to go up that canyon because the Indians would be throwing rocks. That's how they fought. They'd go up the side of the mountain and throw rocks. So that was Bad Rock Canyon. Yeah. I'd like to take you up the canyon. I used to live up here in 2013, 2014 and had to make this commute quite often. I ended up working in Columbia Falls, which is behind me. And so I was coming up this way quite often because I had to work, right? So I know this road really well. I really love going this way. So it's a really nice treat for me to have to commute this way, actually. So even though it's a long drive, every time I come this way, it's a real treat for me. And that's why I'd like to share it, you know, because at some point I might not be making this trip as often. So today I want to share coming up the canyon. And I love coming up this way when you've got the snow-capped mountains. There's other traffic, they'll be racing each other to the bottleneck, right? Trying to get past all the slow people. Once you get through this canyon, it's a whole nother landscape. It's like we're coming out of a high prairie, so to speak. It's relatively flat back that way. And once we get past this wall, this is the first mountain range is what we call the Swan Mountains. This is right at the north end of it, where it settles down with the, I guess you can think of Tea Kettle as the last mountain in that mountain range. And then the very next mountain range is called Flathead, the Flathead Mountain Range, which is part of the Continental Divide. And I think it only tops out around, you know, I don't know if it's like 9,000 feet above sea level at best. I used to think my friends in Colorado living up in Netherlands are always living up at that altitude all the time. I see a choo-choo train up there. Now those are yellow-looking pine trees. I believe those are the tamaracks. They look like pine trees, but they shed. Yeah, this is Flathead River. Goes down and it joins the Columbia River, and it's coming from what we consider the headwaters here. So like if you go up and go to the right of the south fork of the Flathead River, that's the Hungry Horse Dam. It's the very first dam at the top of this water system. We're at the headwaters feeding out that way. I think that long looking mountain is Desert Mountain. You can drive all the way up to the top of that. Here is the Hippie Spigot. You can see that little tube coming out of the mountain. That's where you get your spring water. So some people come here with a pickup truck and a tank on it, and they jack up under that hole, that I should say the Hippie Spigot, that pipe. Right on the edge of the forest. We're in the forest where they mowed down part of the forest to put the road. It's like they say, the animals are not crossing the road. Our road is crossing the forest. Hungry Horse. Yeah, once upon a time, somebody somebody's horses got stuck in these mountains. Thankfully they didn't die, but Lord, they sure were hungry. Right? Those horses were hungry. Now, coming over the South Fork. In another video, I shared where the North Fork and the Middle Fork part off. And this is where the South Fork parts off from those. And then, as we're coming up, there she is. That's the Continental Divide. That's the Flathead Mountains. You guys, I hope you enjoyed seeing what I get to see on my regular commute. I hope you have a nice day, and I'll talk to you soon.